Welcome to the Diva Details. Welcome to the Diva Details, where bold, confident women embrace life unapologetically. From love and sex to wellness and reinvention, we keep it raw, real, and powerful. No filters, no limits. Just fearless conversations to help you thrive. Let's dive in with Diva Mia.
Well, hello. This is Diva Mia. Today we're going to talk a little bit about your health. I know that for a long time people have thought, well, if you just work out more, you'll get in shape, or if you just work out more, you'll get healthy. Well, working out is part of the equation, but technically about 80% of what you do is related to your diet. Your diet is more important than how many hours you spend at the gym. I know sometimes it's easy to say, okay, well, I worked out for 2 hours, I can go and have a treat. No, not really. Because what matters is the other 22 or the 23 hours you don't spend in the gym a day. That's the most important part of your health, what you do on a daily basis. 1 hour of working out only equates to about 400 to 600 calories, depending on how big you are. One meal is 800 to 1,000 calories or more, depending on what you eat. Some people go and they splurge, and you could eat 2,000 calories in a meal. So remember that if you are not working out, if you're not building muscle, that helps, but you also have to watch what you eat. For the longest time, they used to say that, calories in, calories out, but that's not true. More and more research is showing it's the quality of what you eat, not just the quantity. There are people that say, well, I ate 1,000 calories of Doritos, so it'll be okay. No, because those 1,000 calories of Doritos are completely empty calories and they're going to go right on your hips. Whereas if you had 1,000 calories of pure protein, say chicken or fish, that turns into muscle mass. That's get utilized by the body to build things. It's a building block. It doesn't just get stored as fat. So it is not just calories in, calories out. I wish people would stop saying that because it's totally not true. It matters the quality of the food you're eating, not just the calorie count. Because if you ate 1,000 calories of broccoli, it would take you a whole day, and you're going to hardly gain any weight from the broccoli. So remember, it's not calories in, calories out. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about your metabolism. There's a reason why in your 20s, you could get away with eating a little bit more than you can in your 40s and 50s. It's not just muscle mass, it's also hormones. And then there's the issue of inflammation. When you eat inflammatory causing foods, you're going to have more weight gain, and it's going to make it harder for you to lose weight. So if you are overeating, if you're eating unhealthy foods, you're going to stall your own fat loss. Even overeating healthy foods can stall your fat loss, because if you eat too much fruit is great for the antioxidants components, but if you eat too much fruit, that's a lot of sugar on the body. Sugar triggers your insulin, and when you trigger insulin, that tells your body to store fat. It's going to store that fruit away just like as if it was a candy bar. So the quality of the food matters too. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that today and different types of diets depending on what you're looking to do, because different diets mean different things to people. So some people may be wanting to gain muscle mass. Every single person here will be on a different type of diet depending on what their goals are. The first part that you need to do when you're trying to change your health is figure out your goals. So if you haven't lifted weights before and you have very little muscle mass and you're getting older, say you're in your 50s or 60s, one of your goals may be to increase muscle mass. But the question is, how do you track it? How do you know? Well, there's a scan that can test for muscle mass. They also have many scales out there that can give you a rough estimate on your muscle mass, but you're going to have to find out where you're at now and then set a goal for where you want to be. Now, muscle doesn't appear overnight. Typically, you're going to have to work it over time. That's why it takes time in the gym. So if you want to increase muscle mass as one of your goals, and say you want to add 5 pounds of muscle mass in a year or whatever it is, you need to track it. Find out where you're at now. Find out what your body fat percentage is. Find out if you want to get your body fat percentage down to, say for a guy, for 10 to 12% or a woman 15 to 20, you need to know where your body fat percentage is. If you want to, so we're talking about gain muscle, lose body fat. What about your cardio health? What about training for a marathon? There's a lot of things that people want to do. People that train for a marathon are going to eat higher carbs than someone training to build muscle mass. Make sure you're clear on your goals and set those goals, because most people They go at weight loss kind of crazy. At the beginning of the year, they all set a goal and they go to the gym for a month and then they all quit because they don't have clearly defined goals and clearly defined whys. You need to have a why behind it. Why are you getting in shape? Do you not feel well? Document that. Write down how painful your life is when you're not in shape. Detail every ache and pain and say, I want to get rid of this pain. So then when it gets hard, you can look back and say, oh, I remember that. Oh, I used to have knee pain or I used to have ankle pain, etc. So let's go ahead and jump right into talking about different types of diets. One of the things that should be off of everybody's plate is processed foods. You need to eat mindfully when you're eating because when you eat processed foods and you have no portion control, it's going to get out of control. No matter what diet you're on, in order to be healthy, you need to swap your processed foods for more whole foods. Replace your soda drinks with lemon and water or sparkling water if you need the little fizz. Because the reality is that all that soda and all that sugar, you're not getting any value out of that. Yeah, it's sweet and it gives you a rush for a quick minute, but then it goes right to your hips because soda has zero nutritional value. We think about food as medicine many times, but food can be toxic too. And when you're eating a ton of sugar that causes a lot of inflammation, you're going to have a lot of problems. Now, a couple weeks ago, we talked to a person that works with functional medicine, and she talked about food sensitivities. You should also go get a food sensitivity test. Now, you could go through her if you want to. She does, even if you're not in the state of Texas, you can go and talk to her because she does online food sensitivity screening. She can order one for you. It's a blood test. When you find out your food sensitivities, if you're eating things that you're sensitive to, it's going to cause inflammation. Now, a lot of people say go on the Mediterranean diet because it's anti-inflammatory. Great, but what if you're allergic to olive oil? Or what if you're allergic or have a sensitivity to tomatoes? Or have a sensitivity to certain kinds of things that are in the Mediterranean diet? If you go on the Mediterranean diet, you're just going to cause inflammation, which is going to hinder or slow down your weight progress. So find out your food sensitivities first. That's step one, or step two, actually. Setting the goals are number one. So then the next step is to go find your food sensitivities and figure out what foods you can eat and what foods you can't, okay? So if, in general, though, the Mediterranean diet is really good for people that have issues with their heart. It's very heart healthy. It's anti-inflammatory. It focuses on fish, olive oil, fruits, and vegetables. Now, some people say, oh, in Mediterranean, they eat pasta. Well, yes, but it's a different kind of pasta. The pasta in the United States has been refined down to almost no nutritional value, and they also spray it with different types of insecticides and herbicides, which stay in the wheat. So you're getting a little bit more toxic pasta than you would get in Italy. That's why a lot of people that go to Italy or Greece, they say they lose weight. Well, yeah, because in those countries, they don't have all the chemicals. Whenever there's chemicals in your food, your body's fat will wrap around it. Basically, your fat is protecting the organs from toxicity. So when there's extra calories and extra toxins, you create fat. So that's why sometimes when people lose weight quickly, they get sick or they have an ill feeling because you're processing those toxins a second time. Realize that there is some toxicity in the wheats and the breads and the pastas that we get in this country. If you go on a Mediterranean diet, focus on olive oil, fish, fruit, vegetables. You can have a salad with olive oil, balsamic vinegar, those types of things. Those are anti-inflammatory. Mediterranean diet is wonderful. It's a nice longevity diet, and it's great for your heart health. Now, if you're wanting to go and gain muscle mass, one thing that's been really popular lately is keto. Now, it's a low-carb diet. It's great for rapid fat loss as well, and it stabilizes your blood sugar. Keto, I hear people talk about a lot in the gym, and keto is new for people that, I guess it's very similar to the Atkins diet because it was high fat, high meat. You got to avoid it long term because there are people that do get heart issues because you need to balance it with micronutrients once in a while as well. You need more vegetables. You need more fruits once in a while. So you got to balance out keto. Don't go 100% keto and not balance it out with other types of diets because the keto can get to you over time. And be careful with the keto, but it is good for, decreasing fat loss, also increasing muscle mass. It's nice if you're cutting for a competition or if you're just trying to drop your fat to a lower percentage, but cycle it with some other diets. You could cycle it with the Mediterranean diet. That would be fine. all of these diets need to be cycled. I think a lot of people think, I go on a diet, I'm on that diet for the rest of my life. There was a thought process like that for the longest time, but now what we're finding is you need to cycle through different diets because if your body adapts. And once your body adapts to whatever calorie content you usually intake or a specific diet, traditionally still store fat. If your goal is to constantly challenge your body to grow and to improve, you're going to have to cycle diets. Okay? The next thing is intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting has been all the rage lately. I know that a lot of people have done long-term fasting, which is called prolonged fasting or intermittent fasting, but intermittent fasting, a lot of people are trying. And the one thing is it does great things for your insulin sensitivity, and it's great for fat burning. So again, you can do this during a cutting stage, and you also want to combine it with lower carb eating. Now, it doesn't have to be as low as carb as keto, but it's going to be lower carbs. You're going to cycle it with 16 hours of no eating to 8 hours of eating. Now, I think that's a lot of eating, personally. I think it'd be better if you wanted to do intermittent fasting to do 20 hours of no eating and then a 4-hour window of eating. So then what would happen is you'd go to bed. Now, I recommend if you're doing the intermittent fasting to skip dinner because dinner is one of those things, if you eat it too late at night, you just store all that as fat anyway. So skip dinner, go to bed, and you don't eat until the next day. And say you eat at 10 o'clock. Maybe you're eating from 10 to 2, or you're eating from 8 to noon. So you're eating 2 meals in that 24 cycle. So 20 hours off, 4 cycles on. As well as intermittent fasting, there's an also diet called OMAD, which means you only eat 1 meal a day. Basically, what's happening with OMAD is when you eat 1 meal a day, you're decreasing the amount of time you're triggering your insulin. Insulin, as most people know, if you've listened to any of my other podcasts, it's going to store fat. So when you trigger your insulin, you're going right into fat storage. So OMAD is a great alternative if you can just eat 1 meal a day. Now, again, you're going to cycle this. Don't do OMAD for your whole life. You're going to cycle this. You might do OMAD for a little bit, and then maybe you cycle it back to a 20-40 for a little bit, and then maybe you do low-carb keto, and go for like 30 to 60-day cycles on these and see how you do. You're going to see that the weight comes off easier when you're cycling than instead of just doing a grind of a year of 1 meal a day. Your cycles will actually help you lose weight because your body will need to adapt to the new changes. So intermittent fasting is great for people, especially it helps you control your cravings. The snacking through the day is really unhealthy for people. It used to be when I was growing up, they told us that we should eat 5 to 6 meals a day. That's great if you're running a marathon and you're constantly working out and you're up on your feet all day. But if you're eating 5 to 6 meals a day and you have a desk job, you're just basically saying, I'm going to consume, and then I'm going to trigger my insulin to store the fat because it's not getting used. And I'm going to eat some more, and I'm going to trigger my insulin to store the fat because I'm not up working out and running around and doing stuff all day long. If you're walking all day long, yeah, you might get away with 3 or 4 meals a day, but 5 or 6 is way too much. There's a reason why people keep getting larger and gaining weight. They're eating way too much processed foods, and they're eating way too often. So decrease your insulin by doing some type of intermittent or OMAD fasting type of diet. All right, that was a mouthful. So I'm going to move on to the next one. So next is plant-based diets or whole food diets. Now, there are people that it's kind of a vegan or a vegetarian style diet where plant-based is all you eat is things that come from plants. It could be fruits and vegetables, and it's nonstop. It's great for cleansing out your digestive system. There's different types of plants that will help get rid of parasites, plants and herbs anyway. It's great for cleansing, for longevity, for skin health. It's going to focus on greens, legumes, and natural proteins. Now, the whole food diet is the natural proteins. You can get protein from plants, though, guys. You can get protein from broccoli. There's a lot of protein in vegetables. People don't realize how much protein there is across the board in plants and vegetables. Then the whole food diet just says, I'm only going to eat foods that came from the ground, like from a plant, or are from protein sources of like whole food meats like beef and chicken, but they focus on non-steroidal, non-antibiotic ridden animals. And this is a healthy way of eating. So you're going to go organic typically with a plant or a whole food diet. You're going to make sure that there's no extra steroids or hormones, which quite frankly, guys, even on keto and all the other diets, you should try to make sure you're as clean as possible because If you're eating cows that were jacked full of steroids, if you're eating chickens that were on antibiotics and all that stuff stays in the meat. And then it's like a toxin that your body has to try to eliminate. I know that if I'm allergic actually to meat that has antibiotics in it. If the antibiotics are there, I can't eat chicken that has antibiotics in it. It will make me very sick. I've learned a long time ago, I can eat, free range chickens, but I can't eat chickens that are grown in factories because I get really sick. Just realize if people are getting sick from those things, it's probably a sign that you may be experiencing inflammation or something like that and not even realize it. Try to go organic as much as possible. And then the paleo. So paleo is great for, inflammation. It's going to get rid of all your grains, first of all, and dairy and any processed foods. It's great for energy balance. It's going to focus on, again, natural things that come from the earth, natural things that come from animal product. So the paleo diet is based off of the Paleolithic or the Stone Age. That's where it's from. It's a diet that it aims to mimic the eating paths of our prehistoric ancestors. So you're going to focus on fruits, vegetables, very lean meats, some seafood and eggs, nuts and seeds. A lot of nuts and seeds and grains are going to be eliminated. Refined sugar is going to be gone. A paleo diet's not bad either, and it's more of a natural diet. Just anything that you can eat anything that basically our ancestors would have eaten is paleo. Again, these are 5 really popular diets right now that are lifestyle diets that you can cycle through. And all of these diets, honestly, guys, they don't interfere with your social calendar much. I know a lot of people say, I don't want to diet because oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go on a diet and then I'm not going to be able to go out with friends. But the reality is Mediterranean diet, you can go out with friends. You just choose a restaurant that has more Mediterranean food. Even keto, you just go somewhere that has more meat. Low carbs, stay away from the carbs. Don't go for Mexican if you're on keto. Even intermittent fasting, if you're doing intermittent fasting, you could go for Mexican. Have one of your meals at a Mexican restaurant. All of these diets you can cycle through and still have a social calendar. And a lot of people, they just don't want to diet because I'm going to have... No, 30, 60 days, try a diet out. See how it works. Some of them won't work for you, especially if you haven't done the food sensitivity test, because you're still going to get inflamed from some of the foods. Give it 30 days. If it's not working, switch to a different diet. That's the way to go. That's what you need to do if you want to get in shape and lose weight. The next one is to focus on muscle gain. And there's different diets that focus on muscle gain. The biggest one, though, is to make sure you are getting enough protein. And most people recommend that you get 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Now, if you're 500 pounds, you're not going to be eating 500 grams of protein. It's per pound of body weight that you want to get to. So if you're a man and you weigh 500 pounds, hopefully you don't, and you want to get down to, say, 250 pounds or 200 pounds, you're a big, tall man and you want to get down to 200 pounds, you would be eating 200 to about 300 grams of protein per day. So that's a lot of protein. You may eat like 4 meals a day in order to get all that protein in. Intermittent fasting, when you're trying to gain muscle, not the best idea for a diet, but you could definitely go keto, but you're going to have to eat a lot. Now, if you're a woman, let's say you want to weigh 120 pounds, so you'd be eating about 115 grams of protein per day. So just realize now, if you get less than that, it's not going to hurt once in a while, but that's the goal. This is muscle gain. This is not for the faint of heart. This is somebody that wants to build muscle. Now, if you don't want to compete or if you're not trying to gain super amounts of muscle, you're still going to want to get more protein as you get older because we tend to cut back on our protein and then we start to lose even more muscle mass. We can lose several pounds of muscle a year if we don't get enough protein and if we don't lift weights. Remember that you can do more protein as you get older just so to help out your body. Now, again, make sure it's non-steroidal, non-antibiotic meat so that it's healthy. Now, when you go out to eat, you don't really have that much of an option. I recommend when you're dieting, try to eat out less. Maybe go out once a month or once a week, but don't go out more than that because you're going to have unclean food. Honestly, when you eat out, you don't know where they actually got the food from. So a high protein diet, you're going to focus on chicken. Chicken is great because it's easy to make. Salmon, You can have some rice. Eggs are a big one. And light on the vegetables. So you're going to have vegetables, but they go long. Now, no sugar. You're not going to go eat some candy. You're not going to go have soda. You're not on your high protein diet. You're not eating that stuff. Okay. You're not having pasta. You're not having pizza. That's not on a high protein diet. You got to have flexible eating too. They say if it fits your macros, these are macro diets. You're going to be working on athletics or bodybuilding. That's typically the people that want to focus on the muscle gain. I think we all need to focus on more muscle gain. There's a bulking stage. So even when you're gaining muscle, this is a bulking stage. You're going to increase your caloric protein and maybe even go higher on protein and carbohydrates when you're trying to bulk. And then when you cut back, you're going to cut out the carbs. Carbs are what cause fat, guys. And carbs come from sugar. It comes from pasta, breads, those types of things. So if you want to lean up, you're going to cut that out. And you're going to keep the high protein and any healthy fats like avocado, olive oil. Get rid of the seed oils. Just no more seed oils. So protein, healthy fats, you can have olive oil. That's a healthy fat. You can have avocado oil. Those are types of things that you can eat. There's no reason to eat seed oil anymore, guys. It's been documented over and over. It's very carcinogenic. So stop eating the seed oils. Then you're going to carb cycle. So you're going to have high carb days to fuel and train. When you're not training, you're going to have low carb days. Unless you're training 6 days a week, which unless you're getting ready for a bodybuilding competition, you probably aren't. But if you are training that much, you might cycle like 4 days of high carb, 3 days of low carb, or vice versa, depending on how much fat you need to lose. Low carb days are going to burn your fat for fuel. The other thing is you don't want to have any type of carbs first thing in the morning, because when you wake up in the morning, you have cycled through a night of fasting. So the longer you can go and not eat until after your first workout, the better and the more fat you're going to burn. That's just a little insider tips. Wait to eat until after your morning workout. Okay. Next is carbs. Now, carbs is completely dependent on your activity. Some people say keep it to a half to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Some people say go less. Some people say eliminate them. This is going to be completely dependent on where you're at in a cycle. But it can be 2 grams of as high as 2 grams if you're bulking. So 2 grams of carbs per pound when you're bulking may be a thing. It depends on what you're looking for. And then fats are about 0.3 to 0.5 grams per pound. I really don't track fats because I don't eat a ton of fat. I eat it along with. It's like more of a supplement. So I'll have olive oil and I'll have avocado. So those are things you can do as far as muscle gaining goes. Muscle gaining is very important, especially when you're training. Again, make sure you're eliminating anything that causes inflammation. Inflammation in your body is really toxic. It leads to all kinds of body breakdown and diseases, and inflammation is the root cause of a lot of diseases. So be careful with anything you're putting in your body. The next thing is water, and water is so important. So if you currently weigh 200 pounds, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. The whole fallacy of 8 cups of 8-ounce glasses per day is a fallacy, because a lot of people are walking around dehydrated. When you're dehydrated, you don't flush fat, you don't flush out toxins, and you don't feel very well. You might get some brain fog, you might not feel good. You might get sick more often. So if any of that speaks to you, make sure you're getting enough water. So take your body weight and divide it by 2. So it's about half an ounce per pound of body weights. Again, 200 pounds, you get 100 ounces of water a day. If you weigh 120 and you're a woman, you're getting 60 ounces, maybe even a little bit more of of water per day. So just remember that. 8 ounces is 68. 8 glasses of 8 ounces is 64 ounces. That's for somebody that weighs 128 pounds, right? So you need to get more water than someone that weighs 128 pounds if you're an adult male, okay? When you drink a lot of water, you're going to increase how much fat you burn. And it also supports detoxification. And we want to easily, if you can just add water to your diet. Now, don't add soda, but add water and you will greatly increase fat metabolism. That's a huge thing that people don't realize. Again, I'm going to repeat the protein. So 0.8 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight is just one of the macros people should do. It's essential for tissue repair, for your metabolism, and to keep muscle mass. I mean, you want to keep muscle mass as you get older, and you want to keep your metabolism high and repair connective tissues. If you're having problems with your joints or you keep getting injured, it's because you're not getting enough protein. It may be because you're clumsy too. That totally may be. I tend to be a little on the clumsy side myself, but if you're not getting enough protein, it's definitely probably part of the issue as well. You want to keep protein up. So, it depends on what your goal is, but you should probably be eating about 60% of your diet in protein and 30% in fat and keep it down to 10% in carbs when you're trying to gain muscle and adjust it for your goals. Now, it may change. There's times where you need 40% of your body weight in carbs, or 40% of your diet's going to be carbs and 30% protein and 30% fat, or vice versa, but you just need to keep it going depending on what your goal is. Are you trying to lose fat? Are you trying to gain muscle mass? Are you trying to build? Are you trying to do endurance? I can't see anyone needing to do 40% in carbs unless they're training for something, unless they're extremely active, unless they're working out quite a bit. So just try to watch the carbs, guys. And most people eat most of their diet in carbs, and that's the problem. The other thing is juicing and water. There's a new movement. I don't know if you guys have seen it online. Dr. Fung is one of the proponents of prolonged fasting and long-term fasting and extended fasting. If you're obese or morbidly obese and you get yourself stuck and you find that you've tried every diet and you have not been able to lose weight, a lot of people are going on GLPs or semaglutides or trizepatides, and they're creating new health issues and inflammation that they didn't realize that they had. Now, I'm not your doctor, so you do need to talk to your doctor and find out what's best for you, but prolonged fasting has been taking root. And it's a possible alternative. Now, most doctors won't like it. I'm just going to let you know, heads up, because most doctors don't know anything about it. So do your own research and look online and then go talk to your doctor. That way you can answer questions your doctor may have as well. Water fasting is not for the faint of heart. Now, prolonged water fasting is a minimum of 24 hours. A lot of people will do 3-day fast, 5-day fast. I've even done a 40-day fast of water. The longest ever done was by Angus Barbieri, and his was a Scottish man. And this was done back in 1938 into 1939. And this Scottish man fasted water only for 382 days. Now, when I say water only, he did have some tea with no sugar, coffee, and some vitamins. And then he did some yeast extract. So there were some supplementations that you did. You should not be fasting without electrolytes for more than 3 days. Honestly, you're going to feel the pain. And some people recommend taking electrolytes every single day you're doing a prolonged fast. So there's fasting salts you can take in pill form, or you can just put some salt in a water and drink that. But electrolytes, you do not want to mess around with that. And you do need to get blood work done, and you do need to be medically supervised if you're doing more than 2 or 3 days. That's the truth. And if you're really small and you don't have much fat, you really should be medically supervised if you're just doing 24 hours. The long-term water fasting, I've seen people that they're very skinny and they try to do a 30-day water fast and then they have major problems. It's not for people that are super skinny. The 40-day water fast is for somebody that is overweight, or they're having major health concerns like cancer or autoimmune disease or problems that need to be fixed. That's what the prolonged water fasting is for. Now, if you're doing it, I honestly think that everybody should be able to do a 5-day water fast once a month or once a quarter. But that's, again, you should be talking to your doctor. But it's a good way to clean you out. It gives your body a break. It will detox. It does. After about day 2, you're going to get into autophagy, where you're getting rid of bad cells your body doesn't need. People are doing water fasting now when they're going into chemo because it helps with the chemo. It helps with chemo treatment. They're also doing acupuncture during that, but acupuncture along with water fasting during chemo has been doing great things for people. Again, this is not for the faint of heart. Should be medically supervised, especially if you have any health conditions. You should make sure that you're taking care when you're doing this. Now, there's a company called True North. It's based out of California. They have a place that you can go to. Now, they're not the only company. There's a lot of companies now out there doing supervised water fasting. True North is a company you can go to, and you can water fast for up to 40 days with them. They will do your vitals every single day. You stay there for 40 days. Now, you have to have the time to stay there. It does not cost a ton of money. People are like, oh, it is a couple thousand. It's not. It's only a few $100s a day. I'm sure that will change, and I'm not going to quote a price. You can talk to them. But you go there for 30 or 40 or sometimes 20, depending on who you are, and you get sort of supervised water fast. Now, they're going to give you tea. They're going to have you do exercises. You're not just going to be sitting there for 40 days. They're going to have you walk because you're going to be walking while you're water fasting. You'll be amazed that after day 2, if you can make it to day 2, how good you feel. A lot of people will stop the first day in water fasting because they feel like crap. They get a headache. They're grouchy. They can't do it, and they quit, and then they go binge somewhere. But it's not true water fasting. I honestly feel like to do a prolonged water fasting, right, it has to be more than 18 to 24 hours. Just because by day 2, the end of day 2, you're feeling great. By day 3, you feel amazing. I mean, that's why people can go for so long, is because the body switches from burning glucose that's in your bloodstream. First, what happens is the body goes through the bloodstream and burns up the glucose. Then it goes into the liver, and it burns up stored glucose there. Then once the liver has depleted those stores, then it switches into what's called ketosis. It starts burning ketones, and ketones get burned by burning your fat. So it's going to go and it's going to burn your fat. Now, one thing I will say, when I water fast, I still work out. And I have noticed that I can lift heavier when I'm water fasting than normal because there's no inflammation in my joints. I feel good. However, I can't go for an hour when I lift weights. I can only go for about 30 minutes, and then I run out of steam because ketosis takes a little bit longer to generate those ketones. Well, I run out of steam at 30 minutes, and then I have to take a break. And I get some water. My body recovers. Don't think you can go on water fast and work out heavy and hard because you can't. It's going to slow you down a little bit. But mentally, clarity, the mental clarity that comes with water fasting and spiritual clarity that comes with water fasting is amazing, I must say. Think about water fasting as a possible something to do maybe once a quarter, once a month, depending on where you're at. If you're morbidly obese or have cancer, autoimmunes, you might want to talk to True North. I believe they have an online version too if you can't go and stay, but there's different types of cycles you can do. The next one's juice fasting. I don't know if you guys have seen Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. It was about a guy from Australia that had gone through a lot of different cycles of trying to lose weight, and he got chronic urticaria. It's a autoimmune disease, which caused him to itch and get rashes. And he was miserable. And he was on prednisone and all kinds of other medications. And he decided to juice fast. Now, he wanted to juice fast for 60 days. And he went on the juice fast and met another guy that had the same disease. And he incorporated him into the Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead movie. Now, he's got Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead 1 and Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead 2, both movies. I recommend watching them both. They're amazing. Anyway, so the Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead movie will take you through how to do a proper juice fast. Now, juice fasting is great because you still get nutrients during a juice fast. I still recommend getting medically supervised because if you're on medications, which a lot of people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s are, as you juice fast, you're going to drop weight pretty quickly, just like water fasting. Both of these need to be medically supervised. And they may need to decrease whatever doses of medications you're on. You're going to have to get blood work done probably every 2 weeks, maybe every week, because you're going to significantly drop weight. It's going to detox your liver and your gut. You're going to make sure you use organic vegetables, by the way. No chemicals on your vegetables. You don't want the insecticides or the pesticides or any of that stuff for any fruits and vegetables that you're juicing. You're going to use organic vegetables and fruits. It's just going to clean you out. Beets, great for the liver, great for blood. It cleans out your blood. Cucumbers, oh my gosh, celery. All of these things you're going to juice on a daily basis. It's a great way to clean yourself out and get yourself back into a clean eating mindset. If you've been eating junk food for a long time, juice fasting, forcing yourself into this process will reset your whole mindset regarding food. It's not for everybody either. So this is not for the faint of heart. I don't say you have to do a 60-day, but maybe you do a 7-day or see what you can do. Maybe after 7, you decide to go longer. It's up to you. This is your life, but you have the ability to be and look the way you want. But you got to own it and take responsibility for it. I'm just giving you options now. You've got to figure out what you need to do. I think that juice fasting is great because it's amazing to clean out your body, to repair your body. You can even cycle juice fasting with a couple days of water fasting a week. So it's something that you can do, but you got to take control one of the things with water fasting and juice fasting that I love is that it resets any type of food cravings or food addictions that you have. Food is medicine, and food can also be poison. And I think we eat poison and toxins all day long and then wonder why later we get sick. We wonder why we get cancer, or we're obese, or we have growths, or we have our hair falling out, or we're premature aging. I have people tell me all the time how young I look because I eat clean. If you're not going to eat clean, you're going to age faster. All those chemicals, they're aging you. So when you're eating food dyes and food additives and food flavorings, all that stuff is chemicals. It's not good. It's going to age you faster. Juicing is nature's pharmacy. It has vitamins. It's got minerals. It's got enzymes. It's got essential elements in there. And it's an antioxidant. Most of the fruits and vegetables are antioxidants. So when you juice in liquid form, you're flushing all that bad stuff out and replacing it with a bunch of good stuff. I think juicing is phenomenal. Food is medicine. Food behaves just like medicine. In fact, a lot of the medicines are based off of food. They're based off of food that we eat. For instance, anti-inflammatory. If you eat turmeric and ginger, it's an anti-inflammatory. Now, companies are selling it in pill form, but I always think by the time they've processed it and put it in pill form, it would have been better just to eat it. But turmeric and ginger and garlic, those things are great anti-inflammatory. You can even eat garlic at night. I have taken to doing garlic with onions. This may not sound great to everybody, but I do garlic with onions, a little bit of mozzarella to calm down the bite that the garlic and the onions has, with olive oil and balsamic vinegar. And I chop it up into fine pieces and I turn it into like a little salad. And it is really good. And I do it at night because it helps your liver flush out. I do it like 5 o'clock. I don't like to eat too late because I think that you need to have like 3 or 4 hour break before you go to bed anyway. So if you can get a 3 or 4 hour break before you sleep, but this is great for cleaning out your liver. It's great for decreasing inflammation. And you can throw some beets in there too once in a while if you like. Berries and salmon, great anti-inflammatory. Any type of omega-3s that you have, white fish, all that stuff is great for inflammation. Remember, these things are medicine. They're going to help you feel better. Every time I go to the doctor, what medications are you on? I'm like, none. I'm on no medication. And I don't know why it's assumed that once you get into your 50s and 60s that you have to be on medication. I think that's a scary place to be in our world, that people just assume you are on medications. We should not be on so much medicine. Try to get to the point where you're using food to do what the medicine did, and maybe eventually you can get off some of those medicines. Again, talk to your doctor. I'm not going to be medical advice, but think about it. What if you could? How would life be if you felt better by the food you ate instead of just eating anything at a whim? No food is worth your life, guys. No food is worth living in pain and suffering. No food is worth that. There's also some immune boosters. Citrus is big. Kiwi is phenomenal. I love kiwi, but I found that kiwi is one of my food sensitivities. I don't eat kiwi anymore, but citrus is great. Kiwi, garlic. Oh my gosh, garlic is just like overall good. It's good for your immune system. It's good for inflammation. It helps your liver. All of these things are great. Mushrooms are great to boost your immunity. If you're sick, there's a lot of different mushroom cocktails you can make. And elderberry, echinacea, those types of things. Different herbs are great too. So great immune boosters out there with different types of fruits and vegetables and foods. Then don't forget to support your liver. Beets and arugula are fantastic for your liver. If you're juicing and you have a problem with your liver, or you have a problem detoxing liver or kidneys, take eating beets, arugula, dandelion greens. They sell those now at some of the health food stores. Lemon, milk thistle tea is phenomenal. If you've got a liver issue, milk thistle, tudka, all those types of things are necessary. Lemon, you should have lemon water at every meal. Lemon water is great. Everybody should have lemon water because everybody's liver in this country, if you have any weight around your belly, you probably have fatty liver, and you need to clear out your liver. Get your liver cleaned out. Lemon water, milk thistle. It depends on how bad it is, but everyone should be trying to constantly cleanse their liver. It's like a filter. Think about your liver as the filter in a fish tank. If it gets dirty or damaged, your fish water is going to get dirty. What happens eventually, the whole fish tank goes bad. The liver is one of the most important organs you have in your body. Then there's gut health. So a lot of people now, I'm one of them, are making their own yogurt. Because a lot of the yogurts and the kefirs we have very little probiotics, even though they say, I eat yogurt, so I'm getting enough probiotics. But honestly, you're probably not. Even when you take probiotics, you don't know how much is live culture and how much will actually take. So a lot of people now have started making their own yogurt on kefir, and they eat fermented foods, but you can make your own yogurt at home. There's yogurt makers you can get for under $40 on $40 or $50 on Amazon. And then you buy cultures, and you can use pills and put the pills like live culture pills, or you can buy different types to get it started. And every time you're going to make your own yogurt. Now, this yogurt is a little tart or bitter. I add fruit into my yogurt to make it better with a little bit of honey, and it tastes much better. But you can make your own yogurt at home. You can do sauerkraut, those types of fermented things where they're going to help your gut, and your gut is so important. Your gut helps regulate your immune system. Your gut helps you lose weight. If your gut does not have the right amount of bacteria and the right balance of bacteria, it's going to be really hard to lose weight. And have you ever met one of those people that can eat anything they want and they never seem to gain weight? They eat junk food. They eat all kinds of food. Now, I'm not saying they're healthy by any means, but they eat a lot of food. Well, they have probably a better gut biome than someone that's, say, 50 pounds overweight. Because what they're doing is even the 50-pound overweight person may eat way less and gain more weight because their gut biome is messed up. And if you were on a lot of antibiotics, or maybe you were born C-section, your gut biome may not be as healthy as someone that was born naturally or hasn't been on antibiotics. Just remember that. You constantly have to be working on improving your gut. When your gut gets overrun by the wrong bacteria or bad bacteria, it can also be susceptible to parasites. So if a parasite comes through, it might take hold. There's a lot of parasites out there, especially if you travel internationally. Remember that you don't want to get ridden with parasites because your gut biome is low as well. Detoxing with parasites, that was a whole conversation we had with the functional doctor as well. Those are some things you need to work on. Functional medicine is becoming more and more popular because we are having so many health issues related to our food. So let's really work on our food and our gut. And apple cider vinegar, there's another one. It's good for the liver. It's good for your gut health. Some people recommend just taking a teaspoon or a tablespoon every morning with some water. It helps you wake up. Throw a little bit of turmeric and maybe ginger in there. That's a nice, with lemon, and that's a nice little morning cocktail. It'll just kind of clean you out. You can do that before you work out or after. Those are just healthy things. Let's get healthy together, everyone. Let's make sure that we live not just a quantity of life, but a quality of life. Some people say, oh, I need my wine or my alcohol or I need my bad food. No, you don't. You need your life because you need to live a high quality where you're not in a nursing home, where you don't need help all the time. Let's talk about our brains because I know a lot of people have been working on brain technology. There's a lot more information coming out about brain health and brain focus. Now, let's talk foods first. Avocados are wonderful. It's got really good healthy fats in it. Fish, oil, anything that's got omega-3s are going to be amazing. Walnuts, blueberries, green tea. Green tea is great for the brain. But a lot of people have talked about the omega-3s, and I think it's extremely important if you want to have really healthy brain. There's a supplement called theanine. I think it's theanine. It has been the rage lately. You put that together with maybe some B12 or some ashwagandha. Theanine is looking at changing the way we think as we get older. Theanine is one of the healthier supplements. It's also known as L-theanine, and it's produced from the tea plant, which is kind of interesting. But it's an amino acid, and it not only calms you, so a lot of people will take it before they go to bed, but it's got anti-inflammatory and antioxidants, and it's supposed to help greatly improve mental acuity or mental alertness. Now, I have been taking it for a while, and it's also supposed to help with memory. So if you have someone that's going through, it might help. They're talking now that it might help with people with Alzheimer's. So it's kind of becoming more of a miracle little amino acid. I'm not going to say it's going to cure anything, but you can maybe supplement with it to help your brain health. And then the next is hormonal balances. Now, flax seeds, lots of cruciferous vegetables, and maca help with your hormone balance. Now, cruciferous vegetables, I haven't talked about yet, but they are amazing for just clearing out toxins as well. So the cruciferous vegetables are things like broccoli and cauliflower, and they just help your body detox. And detoxing is so important for us with all the environmental toxins that we face these days. It's going to help balance you out. When you get sick, what do you take? A lot of people, the first thing they do is they go to the medicine cabinet. But what if you could do things that were antiviral or immune boosting instead? instead of going to the medicine cabinet, think of food as medicine and go for garlic and onions or elderberry, turmeric, honey. Oh, manuka honey. If you get a sore throat, a spoonful of manuka honey is an amazing thing with just a salt water gargle. Do a salt water gargle and then take a spoonful of manuka honey. Manuka honey is great for sore throats. Ginger, lemon, and honey are a great concoction when you have a sore throat too. Turmeric is great for colds and flus. Now, I'm not saying this is the only thing you're going to have to take every time you get sick, but do this as soon as you start feeling a little ill, and you'll be amazed at how quickly you recover. And do this while you're ill. You can take all of these things because even if you have to go on medicine, then this is something that's going to help you get better faster, okay? So if you're inflamed, and inflammation is the leading cause of most diseases out there, and it causes pain. The pain you're feeling from inflammation is your first sign your body is not healthy, just in general. If you've got inflammation in your joints and swelling and pain, or you're getting a rash or you're itchy, you're getting inflammation. And fruits and berries are great for that. If you're on a keto diet and you're getting a ton of inflammation, maybe you need to cycle off and do some berries. Olive oil, turmeric. Again, turmeric is mentioned so much as a healthy food. And then again, omega-3s as well. And don't forget B12. People, a lot of times the B vitamins people forget, as well as vitamin D. And they're finding that we may need a lot more vitamin D because we're not outside anymore. I know people up their vitamin D during the winter, but they forget to do it during the summer, especially if they're inside all day long, because people used to be outside all day long. So you may need to increase your vitamin D. Get your vitamin D tested with your blood work and see where it's at, but you should be on the higher level of vitamin D, not the lower side. Our liver is one of the most crucial organs in the body. Now, I'm not saying you can live with any of them, but with an unhealthy liver, your whole body is going to suffer. Your liver, if you can keep it clean and detoxed, you're most likely to have a lot of other problems in the body. Because when your liver gets toxic, you get more inflammation. When your liver gets toxic, you may get cancers that you didn't expect. When your liver gets toxic, your whole body starts to break down. And you need to have things that support bile production and detox you. And dandelion greens, arugula, beets, lemon, I think I talked about these a little bit earlier. These are great things for unhealthy liver. I take tudka as well as milk thistle. There's just a lot of different supplements you can take when you have liver issues, but you need to support your liver as much as possible. And let's say you have a cardiovascular issue and you need to balance your cholesterol. Even if you've had heart surgery, a lot of times people don't realize how much the diet impacts your heart and your cholesterol. Heck, your liver also impacts your cholesterol. If your liver gets toxic, you're going to have higher cholesterol naturally anyways. When you have an unhealthy heart, you're going to focus more on avocados and olive oil and oats. Chia seeds are really good for the heart too, as well as almonds. They help balance your cholesterol. If you can balance your cholesterol out, you're going to do much better. Now, a lot of people don't ever hear any of these things. A lot of people constantly just go straight for pharmaceuticals, and they don't realize how much they should just change their diet, because your food is medicine. Cancer prevention. Let's talk a little bit about that. With cancer prevention, cruciferous vegetables are amazing. They are going to detox the heck out of you. There's actually sulforaphane, I think is what it's called, where people are selling now sulforaphane, where it's broccoli, but it's on overdrive. So they basically take, and it's pounds and pounds of broccoli in one single pill, and that's helping detox people. So sulforaphane, great for cancer prevention as well as helping recover. And then garlic and green tea again. I think you might be seeing a pattern. Garlic, turmeric, cruciferous vegetables, lemon, all these things, just eat them every single day. Green tea, have these things every single day, and it's gonna help you live a healthier life. What will happen is once you have all the healthy stuff, you're not gonna really be hungry for the unhealthy stuff. That's kind of how it works. So it'll naturally change for you. Cruciferous vegetables have their antioxidants, and some of these things have anti-tumor effects. Not that I'm going to say any of these are 100% cure, but why don't you help your body heal naturally as much as possible? And then there's skin health and eye health, and carrots and spinach and tomatoes are great. They have vitamin A, they support your skin's collagen, and people keep saying, oh, I'm going to go do this procedure to boost my collagen. Well, that's great, but what foods are you taking in to boost your collagen? Because you need food as well. Digestion, one of the great things, papaya seeds I heard is actually parasite. So when people actually are going to fix their digestive system, a lot of them are doing papaya seeds. But papayas in general are good for your digestion. Pineapple's phenomenal. And then again, make your own yogurt and have some probiotics. And I think you'll improve your gut biome, your enzymes, and your gut flora overall. And then you're using medicine and food the way it's supposed to be. One of the other things I want to talk about is stress reduction. Holy basil is one of the great things for stress reduction that people don't usually take in. There's other kind of mints and teas and herbs that people, they don't realize how much herbs affect our health as well. I'm going to go over a couple herbs or a few herbs here and just kind of go over them and describe what you can do to help your body with herbs. And the first is turmeric. Turmeric it's really anti-inflammatory. If you have bad liver, if you have a bad joints, if you injure yourself, let's say, because I recently injured myself, let's say you injure yourself recently, taking turmeric is going to help with inflammation. And I know people are buying gadgets with red light and people are doing all these other things with different types of modalities. Let's work on the natural ways to heal ourselves first. Turmeric is one of the best herbs you can take. Now, I hate the flavor of turmeric. It's in a lot of Indian food. I don't like the flavor. So I take a supplement in turmeric with ginger and garlic in it. But it's up to you. If you can handle the turmeric, great. If you can sprinkle a little bit on, great. But turmeric is one of the great herbs out there. Ashwagandha is great for stress relief. We talked about the holy basil, but ashwagandha is also really good for stress relief. And it helps balance your hormones and energy. So if you're having hormonal imbalances, even though you might be on HRT, ashwagandha may help. Be careful though when you're taking it because you don't want to take too much and mess up your hormones if you're doing supplemental hormones. Otherwise, if you're trying to naturally balance your hormones, ashwagandha is wonderful. Then there's milk thistle. Milk thistle is wonderful for detoxing your whole body and helping your liver repair. If you have fatty liver, if you have liver cancer, if you have primary biliary cholangitis, like I have, an autoimmune liver issue, if you have any type of liver issues, milk thistle is wonderful. Dandelion root is also wonderful because dandelion is good for your liver and your kidneys, because what tends to happen is when your liver goes bad, your kidneys are right behind it. They're suffering as well. When you're on milk thistle, a lot of people also take dandelion root. It's going to detox your liver, kidneys, and help you out overall. There's a lot of natural things out there, guys, that do so much to help the body. And then there's ginger. So ginger, I don't know if you were ever pregnant, but ginger pills or ginger chews is what they give pregnant women for nausea. Ginger is like the best thing to make sure you don't throw up. It's also good for your digestive system overall because it decreases inflammation. So ginger was wonderful, at least when I was pregnant. Then ginseng, it's great for your mood. It's great for focus. I recommend not taking too much ginseng because it can get a little crazy, but ginseng's another good one. Now, oregano oil. If you get sick, oregano oil is really good antiviral and antibacterial. It's actually in a lot of supplements. Then peppermint. You can put a little bit of peppermint between your forehead when you get a sinus infection right on top. Peppermint oil helps with headaches. You can eat peppermint for digestion and headaches as well, and it relaxes your muscles. So if you get really tight muscles, peppermint oil is really good as well. Now you need to dilute it. Don't do straight peppermint oil on you, but you should have a delivery oil. But peppermint is wonderful. And then burdock root. Now, burdock root is also in a lot of liver tonics for cleansing the blood as well as clearing up your skin health. So it's becoming more and more popular. I've seen it a lot. So I hope today helped. You need to realize that you get to choose how you look. You get to choose how you feel. And you get to choose everything about your physical body. Think about how much control that gives you. Your body and your health is in your control. You get to choose how you feel. But you've got to take responsibility and own it. If you've had medical issues, it's your body's way of saying, hey, look, something's wrong. Let's look at our diet, let's look at our health and fix that first. Let's fix the function and the root problem and take ownership of our root problem. Because I think overall, if you can get your body exactly where you want it, your health will follow. If you can get your physical health there, your mind will stay strong longer as well. It gives you just so much of a better quality of life. Quality is what we're looking for, not just quantity. I don't want to live to 150 years if I'm in a wheelchair. I want to live to 150 years bopping around just like I do now. So remember, quality is just as important as quantity. I hope this helped. I hope that you can change a little bit every single day, make it a lifestyle to live healthy, and cycle your diets as need be. But in the long run, I hope the best for you. And I wish that everyone out there changes their diet in the right way so that they can live a healthy, prosperous life. This is Diva Mia signing off. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We'd love hearing from you. Visit thedivadetails.com to connect. See you next week for more.
Diva Details podcast and website are intended solely for informational and entertainment purposes. The content provided does not constitute professional, medical, financial, or legal advice. We are not licensed medical practitioners, financial advisors, or legal professionals. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Any financial topics discussed are based on personal opinions and experience and should not be considered professional advice. The content provided does not constitute legal advice. The Diva Details and its affiliate contributor and guests are not liable for any losses or damages arising from the use of our content. The opinions expressed in the podcast are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated organization, sponsors, or partner. All facts discussed in the podcast are researched and accurate to the best of our knowledge at the time of recording. Information may change over time. No guarantees are made regarding the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statements or opinions presented. It is the responsibility of the listener to verify any and all facts that may influence their decision. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice.